Hello, welcome back to East Coast Bucks. This is Season 3, Episode 3. This is an early season hunt on an oak flat that I've been promising everybody for a while now. Like I say, a lot of these videos were supposed to come out last year on a different network that I'm not associated with anymore. I don't even know if they're still in existence, but I haven't heard anything from them in over a year. But anyways, enough about that. Let me get into to my own thing, because that's what this is all about. So what is East Coast Bucks for all the new folks out here? East Coast Bucks is just a video series, but it's also a brand. So who is East Coast Bucks? Everybody's East Coast Bucks. We're all East Coast Bucks that are Eastern hunters out here. And it's just a brand and a video series and that I created about 4 years ago. And what it's all about is to showcase some of these good bucks that we have on the East Coast. And I'm not out here saying that we've got the biggest bucks in the world, because we probably don't in all reality. But we've got some pretty good ones. And I think if you look behind me, these are 2 Virginia bucks that were killed in the last 3 years. And I think most everybody would agree that either one of these is worth chasing. So, you know, for all the hunting shows and all the rhetoric we hear on, you know, about the West, Midwest, and Canada, that's all great. And I would go on a hunt out there in a heartbeat, don't get me wrong. But I do all this on my own, as a lot of us do, and that's what this show is showcasing. And this brand is showcasing. It's for all us Eastern hunters. There's a lot of us out there. I think you guys all know that. In fact, I would venture to say there's more of us over here on the East Coast that hunt than all the other regions combined. And I'm talking anywhere from Maine all the way down to Florida. That's a lot of hunters, and there's a lot of good bucks in those areas. So I'm not up here bragging or trying to brag or anything. What I'm trying to do is bring light to, these are just 2 of the many, and a lot of folks out there that follow me over the past 3 years will attest to, and you can go on the YouTube page where you're seeing this now, and I can attest to that we've got some decent bucks here on the East Coast. I don't have the best properties in the world. In fact, if you've seen where these 2 bucks were taken, you would probably say, ain't no way, ain't no way. But I'm here to tell you, with many years, as you can see, I'm starting to get a little gray now. There's some good bucks in this area that as a youngster, I used to think, oh, well, I wish I could get to hunt one of those Midwestern places. There's just no good bucks around here. I couldn't have been more wrong, and if you ask me, the Eastern bow hunting right now is better than ever. So let's jump right into this hunt. That's enough about East Coast Bucks for now. I'm going to do a whole nother little show on that, actually, or a little episode about that, because there's a lot of information. Like I say, this is just 2 of probably, I would say, 15 Pope and Young class bucks I've taken in the past 7 years. And you think I'm lying? Go on the YouTube page and check it out. And this is all small woodlots. None of them were taken on big farms, big cornfields and all this. They're all in small little sections that I've gained access to hunting over the years. And so enough about that. Let me jump right into this hunt, because I'm trying to keep them as short as possible. It's hard to do because I have a lot to say. But anyway, so this particular hunt is an early season hunt. It's on an oak flat. I've talked a little bit about it on the Facebook page. So, you know, I had a couple guys ask me, well, what are you set up in? Are you actually set up in the oak tree that's dropping acorns? Sometimes I will, if that's the right tree. So what I look for when I'm trying to set up is I want as many opportunities by me as is possible. Meaning, let's say I've got a oak tree over here that's dropping, a white oak early season. It's just dropping mad acorns. But then I got a couple scrapes over here to the left. But then I need to be on this end because of the wind. So I take all that into account when I'm setting up spots to bow hunt out of. Now I'm talking about bow hunting, but this holds true for gun hunting as well. You just have to expand your horizons a little bit, which makes it, you know, all that much better for you if you're able to do that. I'm strictly a bow hunter, more or less. Not against gun hunting, not against any kind of hunting. That's just what I like to do, and all I'm doing is showing you the way I like to do it. I shoot an old bow, I shoot fingers. I know I don't do everything by the book. I shoot a whisker biscuit, which I love whisker biscuits, by the way. So all the modern age, you know, compound hunters out here with all the new bows, that's great. I'm not saying nothing against it. That's awesome. All I'm saying is do what works for you. If you're a crossbow hunter, you're a rifle hunter, you're a shotgun hunter. I've done it all except crossbow hunting. Never crossbow hunted. Not against it, just not my cup of tea. Which everybody luck that is into it. Me, I like to shoot older bows because I like to shoot fingers. That's the only reason I shoot an older bow is because I like to shoot fingers. And I'm sure there's better ways to do it. There's better equipment. But I'm of the mindset, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And, these are a couple that were taken by that old outdated equipment. And there's many, many more on my wall. And these are recent bucks as well. These are not bucks I'm talking about. I could show you tons of them 20, 30 years ago that were taken in even more subpar equipment. But enough about that. Let's get into this hunt. So when you're setting up on one of these early season sets, like I say, first of all, I want to take into account, you got to find a sign. You got to find where they're at. You got to find a buck that you deem worth hunting. Now, you may be just a meat hunter looking for whatever deer. This holds true for everybody. When I'm looking for my tree, I'm going to set my stand in. And I call these sets because I take an account of everything. It's not just setting a stand. It's an actual set, meaning, okay, I've got that scrape. If I get in this tree, in this big beech tree, that scrape is over there 30 yards. If he comes to that scrape, I can hit him at 30 yards. This white oak is dropping over here to my right, 15 yards away. If he comes to that white oak, I'm looking to maximize my opportunities out of the right tree for the right wind that I think those deer are coming from. That has benefited me a lot tremendously over the years, really ups your odds. If you've got 3 or 4 options versus one option, and sometimes there is only one option. I'll be the first one to tell you, especially on a big buck. Both of these bucks, this buck here, I had one option on him, and I knew it was only one option, and he came right down that option. Very good video to check out. Both of these are Virginia bucks, and they're all on the YouTube page. So, like I say, I'm trying to push this YouTube channel. But anyway, so that's enough about that. That's about the set. I'm in a big beech tree in this video you're getting ready to see. I've got a scrape off to my left. I've got 3 or 4 dropping white oaks, but there's one huge one that you'll see this buck walk right under. Now, what I will point out in this video, this particular wood patch that I'm hunting is absolutely infested with turkeys. I mean infested. I'm talking hundreds. I'm not talking dozens. I'm talking hundreds. So whenever we have an acorn tree that's dropping pretty good, they'll come in and it looks like pigs were in there. They'll come in and just tear up everything on the whole oak flat. Again, I'm talking hundreds, not dozens. It's really, it's out of control. There's coyotes in there and everything, and I turkey hunt, and I kill a few every year, but it's not even putting a dent in them. And these turkeys, they just ravage. In fact, it's hurt my deer hunting in this particular spot. But anyways, so that's what you'll see. These turkeys, they eat up the acorns. As soon as they fall, they eat them up. And the deer and the turkeys kind of compete for these acorns, these first ones. We're in, I believe, right at I think it's the first week of October. It's the first week of the season. And let's pick the action up. This buck now, I don't have a whole lot of them coming in. I'm getting ready to think about, I'm running out of camera light. I'm getting ready to come down out of the tree. And I'm like, I can't believe that buck hadn't come in here because I really was expecting. I had some fresh scrapes, hadn't been in there, hadn't scented it up enough very much. I had a few pictures of this buck and I had a few pictures of 2 other bucks as well. And I'm like, if any one of those 3 comes in here, I'm going to go ahead and try to take them. So let's jump right into it. I'm going to pick it up. Let's pick up the action and I'm going to explain what you saw. shot. It wasn't a great shot angle, but I thought I spined him at first. I thought he was going to go right down, but I'm pretty sure he's down over there. I could hear the blood gushing out of him as he took off. That swagger's mean business. Guy's over here cutting his grass behind me, literally probably 500 yards away. Of course, perfect timing. But it just goes to show you that those deer could care less about that kind of noise. They're used to it. I'm gonna probably give this deer a couple hours because he's hit back. He's actually hit right down through the middle, but back. I've hit him there before, and at that angle, with that swagger, he should get the job done. Well, here he is next morning. First part of Virginia season, starting it off right. I've been hunting already for a while this year. First hunt over here in Virginia, and turned out pretty good. These mountain deer are hard to get on sometimes, but that's why I knew when he came in, had pictures of this deer, I decided I better take him. Got lucky to pull it off, hit him a little far back, but I was pretty confident it was a deadly shot, and was able to recover him first thing this morning. He was only about 75 yards just going down the mountain from where I shot him on top. So here he is. Okay, welcome back. So as you saw, that buck come in pretty fast. It was right at last camera light now, mind you. You know, I don't know, a lot of these guys, some guys have experience videoing hunts. It's hard to do, but it's also, you lose a lot of light at the end of the day. You probably have 10 more minutes that you can legally shoot in with a bow, or a gun for that matter, that you can't get good video in. And it really sucks, to tell you the truth, because I've had a lot of good bucks right at last light that I couldn't get good quality video on. And you know, so that's just one of the things that comes with the, you know, along with the video and the hunts. And people say, well, oh, you know, screw the camera, whatever. And I've done that before. You know, I did that for years. You know, the freak buck that you saw, I attribute that, getting that buck, even though he come out in perfect camera light. A few years ago, I put the camera down. I said, you know, this camera's cost me some monster bucks, and it really has. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go without the camera for 2 or 3 years. And I did, and I took some really, really, you know, top-notch whitetails here on the East Coast. One of them's the freak buck that scored 201 3/8 gross. And so that's, you know, that's one of the things about the camera that happens. But let me get into that shot that you just saw. So as you saw, that buck come in quick, and it's early season, so and it's a pretty open white oak flat. So it's pretty open, but even though it's open, I didn't get a whole lot of footage of him coming in. He comes in like so many of them come in on us, in the eastern states especially. You know, we're hunting primarily timber, or I am anyways. I don't have access to really a whole lot of huge farms. I hunt mostly timber. And he's coming in, and he's coming in at a, you know, a frontal angle, of course, and everybody on here, you know, we've got all the experts on YouTube and Facebook, of course. You know, they tell you, a million of them will tell you exactly how they would have done it. Mind you, they don't have any of their own stuff to show you how they did it, but they'll tell you how to do it in a heartbeat. But, you know, I don't let it get to me. I've shot so many deer, not to toot my own horn or anything, but, you know, I've shot so many over the years. I'll put it to you this way. If it didn't work, like this one didn't work, this one didn't work, the buck I'm showing you in this video didn't work, then why is he dead and on my wall? So that's just a little inside joke that I say with some buddies, because I get so many people, oh, you did it wrong, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, you know. And for those of us that have done it for many, many years, you know, I've been hunting for over 40 years. It just cracks me up, all the people that tell you how you did it wrong, yet the buck's hanging on your wall. I'm not going to say I do everything perfect, because I absolutely don't. Nobody does. If you meet that person, you let me know, because there's nobody out there that's perfect. But about this shot, so what's going through my mind for all the people that are new to it, I know everybody else has a lot of experience in it, but there's a lot of guys who don't. and maybe a guy's, just started bow hunting. So when you have a frontal shot like that, and he's coming into you on a hard angle or even straight at you. Now, if that buck never turned slightly, I would not have taken a shot. Now, if he would have got completely right under me, I'd have shot him straight down. I have killed a few like that. That's the hardest shot there is in bow hunting, but it can be done. I'm not advocating it. I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm just here to show you the things that I've done that's worked out and things that haven't worked out. That buck, he comes, and a lot of people say, oh, you should have waited. He was relaxed. Let me tell you a little something. That buck was at 8 yards. If he took 2 more steps, that's why I didn't have anything, I couldn't swing the camera over to the right. It was a wall of thicket to where once he stepped behind that tree, he's gone. I mean, I wouldn't even have seen him, let alone get a shot. So he started to make that turn. He took that head up, he swung a little bit, and I knew what he was going to do. He was going to cut right into that thicket and go around to this other white oak that was downwind of me that I was worried about. I'm like, if they come into that one, I don't have a shot. So he was coming to go to that one because the turkeys hadn't torn that one up as much yet. And he was going to go over there, I'm assuming, either that or he was going to go on down to his scrape line. But as soon as he opened that shoulder up just a little bit, now mind you, he's at 8 yards. So I'm thinking, I'm drawing, I'm looking in the camera, I'm looking in the viewfinder, I'm already drawn. I'm like, well, he's starting to turn. And my intention was as soon as he turns a little bit and opens that shoulder up, I say open the shoulder up, but one thing I want to point out, and this is what I'm talking about in this video. When you have a shot like that, when I have a shot like that, not telling anybody what to do, when I have a shot like that, and I'm looking down at his front shoulder, the last place I want to aim is where you always hear, oh, shoot him right in the front, you have that small window in the front. That's all fine and well when you're 10 feet off the ground or in a ground blind, but when you're 25 feet up a tree, and that's another thing, I hunt a little higher than a lot of people do, so I'm used to sharp downward angles. I'm not telling anybody how to do it. That's not what this is about. I'm telling you the way I do it. So I'm in a 25-foot tree stand. That buck's 8 yards away. He's coming at me. He turns, quarters. He wasn't even fully quartered. I put that right over top of his shoulder because if I shoot high, it's going to go back in the middle. We're talking about angles here. If you imagine an angle about that big, your shooting area on a deer, whether you're looking down on them, looking broadside, whatever direction, it's basically like a watermelon. The last thing you want to do when you're shooting on a sharp angle down is hit them anywhere in here. Back of the neck, top of the shoulder, that whole shoulder area, it's bad news. I'm here to tell you right now, it's bad news. Most of the ones that I've ever hit there, it's only been a few because I learned my lesson quick. And this was when I was young, when I first started bow hunting. I never got them. In fact, not only did I not get them, I seen them bucks, a lot of them that I hit like that, I seen them the next day with nothing wrong with them. That is a non-lethal shot, and I don't care what you're shooting. I'm shooting a 70-pound Matthews, and I've shot them all. I've shot 90-pound PSEs with, wasp, thunderheads, muzzies. It don't matter. When you're shooting a buck, and you're shooting down at a tree stand, you hit them right here. If you have hit one here and you blown right through them, send me the pictures on that because I'd like to see it. I'm not saying it can't be done, but your odds go down dramatically. So what I like to do, what I've learned that's worked for me, I aim above that shoulder. Now this is when he's facing right at me, and you'll see because it happens exactly what I'm talking about in this video. When they're that close, you tend to shoot high. So think about it. If you shoot high, and he's quartering to you, and you shoot high, where does that arrow go? It doesn't hit him high in the shoulder. It hits him further back down the back line. So I hit that deer about midways back in the back of the lungs, but it was angling down, and it went on down through the kidneys, the liver. It even went all the way down into that femoral artery on his leg. Now, if you think that ain't a deadly shot, you don't know a whole lot about bow hunting. That is a far deadlier shot than hitting them in here. And even with the best penetration, I don't care if you're shooting a crossbow, it shoots 400 feet per second. I know plenty I can show you bolts that are sticking out of deer's back right here that have been shot straight down out of a tree stand. Stay away from that shoulder area. That's my advice, not telling anybody that's the perfect way to do it. But as you'll see in this video, anyone that I've shot between that's facing on that angle, between, I would say, the hindquarters to the front shoulders, any in that mid-depth region, as long as you're not off, dramatically left or right, that's a dead deer. Not only is it a dead deer, but he ain't going 75 yards, as this one did not go. And I think I talk a little bit about that on the tracking job in this. But check it out, and I'm here to tell you right now, you shoot him through that middle, and not telling anybody to do it, because I don't want to hear, all these people, oh, you're advocating bad shots. I'm not. But I'm here to tell you this is the real world. And if I got an opening where I think that deer, and it's a kill shot, as that one does, the proof's in the pudding. So for those that say you can't do that or shouldn't do that, you do it your way, I'll do it my way. I've got a lot of bucks on my wall that were shot that way, and it's worked fine for me. But you got to know what you're doing. Now, this is under 20, even 15 yards, I would say. I would never advocate it further than that, just because your angles are all jacked up if you get the further out you get. But so many I've shot, and most of them have been under 10 yards. You don't get that broadside perfect angle. And even if you do, think about your angle on that broadside shooting out of a 25-foot tree stand at 8 yards away, perfectly broadside. Now you've only got a kill zone that's about that big, because you're at such a sharp angle. You shoot high a little bit, you're over his back. You shoot low a little bit, at such an angle, you just clipped his stomach. Now turn that deer this way, and that watermelon is facing long ways. Now your high, if you shoot high zone, is about that far. So, I'm just pointing out, I'm not advocating for that shot, I'm just pointing out it can work, and it does work. And it's worked a lot for me, and I know a lot of guys that feel the same. You got to have, you got to shoot a lot. You got to be confident and know what it will do. And you got to know, always think about when you're looking down at them, and this is, this is old news that's been around forever. Think about where that arrow is going to come out if you hit them where you're aiming. Where's that arrow going to come out? Sure, if you shoot them right down through the shoulder blades, if you don't, cold cock them right in the top of the spine and drop them, you ain't getting that deer. End of story. I'm here to tell you I've done it. And it ain't fun, especially when he's, bullwinkle. So anyways, I know I rambled on a little bit, but there's been a lot of questions about that and a lot of questions on my stance on it. Again, I'm not telling anybody, I'm not out here telling anybody, I know everything or this is the perfect way to do it. I'm just talking from experience, what I've done, what I've seen, what I've learned in 40 years of bow hunting. Probably shot close to 200 deer, not all bucks, probably 100 bucks, 100 does. I've shot a lot of deer with a bow, and that's all I will say about that. Got a good one coming up for you next week. I'm going to be pumping these out. Until then, good luck everybody. It's November 1st, 2022. Rut's coming up. Good luck.